I'm Gloria Cohn, and this is City Hall in Focus. I'm here today with Al Savay. He's the Director of Community and Economic Development for the City of San Carlos. Welcome, Al.
Thank you, Gloria.
You're here to talk about a very exciting new project, a city-initiated project for the City of San Carlos. Where is this located?
Great. What I'd like to do is refer to a picture that I have on the screen. So why don't we do that? Why don't we take a look? So this is a bird's eye view of the general site of the Wheeler Plaza area. And as you can see at the left-hand side of the screen, there's San Carlos Avenue. But the upper part of the screen, you'll see Laurel Street. And on the west side, you'll see Walnut Street. So the blue area represents the general location of the Wheeler Plaza project area. And what we've done is we've acquired a number of properties in order to make it a rectangular site, to make it economically feasible and have just the right area to be able to do a development at this site. So that's the general location in the community, right in the heart of our downtown.
And how did this come about?
It's really important to know the background and the history of the project. So in the late 1990s, the City Council appointed a Citizens Advisory Committee to study parking in the downtown of San Carlos. And what that Citizens Advisory Committee did is they put together a report. And in the report, it recommended that the city should look at some kind of a mixed-use project with parking on one of our big public parking areas in the downtown. So that's the
Al,
history of it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but when you say mixed use, what does that mean?
So mixed use literally means a mix of uses. So for instance, you might have retail on the ground floor or office on the second floor. You might have office or residential on the upper floor. So a mix of uses.
And you went to the public, and then what was the next step that you took?
So we did. We had a number of community meetings. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is reaching out to the community, and that's what we did. So we met with stakeholders. We had community meetings. Before we even put pen to paper, we said, look, if we're going to do this, what kinds of community benefits do we need to put into this, or what would make it work for the city of San Carlos? What we know is that downtown parking is a key issue in our community. We need more of it. People like it. So that was a key thing. Hey, help us with the parking. One of the other interesting things that we found from our community meetings is people wanted an additional public gathering space. Right now we have Frank Harrington Park right down the street, which is sort of a wooded, canopied, grassy area that people love, and we have a lot of community events there. People wanted another place to go. Essentially, this is like the city's living room. Everybody goes down to dine, to meet their neighbors, to bring their kids. We have lots of activities. So we wanted another public amenity in the downtown. So that was another interesting finding. So we had to find a way. We knew that this was really critical for this project to move forward and be acceptable, is to find a place for that to go. And I'll talk about that a little later.
And can you talk about the details of the design of this location and project?
Sure. Why don't I talk about the general specifications of the project? Let's just call it that. So there's 109 condominium units, and they would each be 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So they're all for sale. None of them are apartments. Again, one of the other key issues that we wanted to do is provide public parking. So as part of this project, we were able to get a brand new public parking garage in our downtown, and that'll have 264 new public parking spaces. When I say new, I mean it's a new public parking garage. Currently, there's 187 parking spaces at Wheeler Plaza. So we would be adding 75 new parking spaces for the public in the downtown. Another component of the project is, well, where are all the residents going to park? So there's 109 new condos. Where are they going to park? They will be parking underground. So a new parking structure will be built underground. There will be almost 200 parking spaces underground for those residents. We'll never see them. Although we will be able to use some of that parking for employees of the Class A retail space along San Carlos Avenue. So we also, as part of the project, will be getting 10,000 square feet of new Class A retail space along San Carlos Avenue. And so those are some of the key components of the project.
When you say Class A retail space, what does that mean?
Class A means the best kind. It'll have high ceilings. It'll attract a very good retailer to the city of San Carlos.
So that sounds like some real benefits, including the additional parking. What other benefits are there to the community?
So, as I noted earlier, we found that people wanted that gathering space, and we had to find a place to do it. So what we did is we acquired the old Foodville building right along Laurel Street. What we're going to do in the interim during construction is we'll be knocking that building down, and we'll be putting valet parking there for the public during the construction process. Once we don't need that valet parking anymore, what we intend to do is reach out to another developer somewhere and have them build maybe a 1 or 2 story building right next to our public plaza. So we will then begin the process of constructing that public plaza that will link right up to Laurel Street, and then we'll have maybe a restaurant or a cafe open up to the plaza and really activate it so that people can dine and meet their neighbors there and things like that.
And it does sound like a benefit to the community. Is there another design that you brought to show us what the final project is going to look like?
Certainly. So what I'd like to do is refer again to the screen. So I brought some pictures to show you, and I'm going to go ahead and get to a site plan of the project. And so essentially what you're seeing on the screen here, and I'm going to orient you really quick again, Walnut Street on the bottom, San Carlos Avenue to the left, and Laurel Street above. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you see that purple area that says retail. That's where that new Class A retail space is going to be, right on San Carlos Avenue. Along Walnut Street, you'll see where it says parking garage. That will be our 2-story parking garage. You'll be able to drive right in to the parking structure from Walnut Street. And when you drive in, we're going to have electronic signs that'll show you how many parking spaces will be available on each floor. The other part that I noted earlier is on Laurel Street. You'll see that area where it says redevelopment. That's where we're going to put the new public plaza and maybe a little retail commercial office space located there. One of the other key components is you see that little red area there above Walnut Street behind the retail? That's called an arcade. And one of the key components is to maintain our pedestrian mobility in our community. And we have a walkway that goes right through the Pacific Hacienda development project across the street all the way to City Hall. We wanted to maintain that pedestrian access from City Hall all the way into downtown. You can go both ways through there and also access that parking garage. The service alley will be in that gray area that goes from San Carlos Avenue to Cherry Street there in the middle of the screen. That's where the trucks will access all those retail areas in the middle of the screen. And so that's essentially the layout and design of the project from a bird's eye view.
When does construction begin?
So construction will begin in June. You'll start to see some activity at the site. We'll have to start working on undergrounding the wires and things like that, maybe a little earlier than that.
So just in a few months it's going to start.
Right. So we're going to start probably in the June timeframe, and we're going to start by demolishing the buildings and then preparing the Foodville site for the valet. So we'll be paving that site, providing the parking area there. And so in June, we're going to see the start of real construction. We'll get our valet set up in there, and then we'll probably take about a year to construct the parking garage. The good news there is after 1 year, once that parking garage is completed next summer, we'll be able to park in it. The community will be able to park in it. Then the rest of the development will take place, and that'll probably be completed in another year, maybe in summer of 2018.
So as a visitor, I'm going to come downtown, let's say in July, and I'm going to drive on San Carlos Avenue. Will I be able to turn left onto Laurel? Is that where the valet is going to meet me?
Yeah, so you'll be able to access the valet area there right on Laurel Street, and there will be a valet attendant there. And we'll also have valet services over at the Samtrans building.
Oh, so that makes it convenient for people, and they can just walk across the street and visit what other shop or restaurant they want to.
Right, right.
Do you have an artist's rendering of what the final project will look like?
Certainly. So I'd like to refer back to the screen, and I have a couple of artist renderings that I'd like to show you here. So if you look at the screen here, what you'll see in this first artist rendering is this is as if you're standing across the street from Wheeler Plaza at the corner of San Carlos Avenue and Walnut Street, looking into the project. At the ground floor, you'll see the archways there, and that opens up to an arcade, and there will be maybe a restaurant or a cafe on the corner where we'll have outdoor dining. As the eye follows the building up, if you look up the building, you'll notice that there's some balconies, there's lots of window treatments, and we call it variation in the facade. So there's a lot of ins, there's outs, there's wood, there's different sizes of windows and different colors and things like that. So that's very important in terms of breaking up the mass of the building and providing a really rich architectural style.
Yeah, it makes it more interesting looking.
It certainly does. And in terms of the architectural style itself, we thought that was very important. And it really harkens back to the Drake building down at the corner of San Carlos Avenue and El Camino. It's a very classic mission style of architecture. You'll see also along San Carlos Avenue on the left where you see those orange umbrellas, you'll see that the top floor, the fourth floor, is stepped back away from San Carlos Avenue to give it a more human scale. As you walk to the right down Walnut Street, you'll see more arches, and that opens up to another public plaza that will be available there as well.
And there's another view you want us to see as well.
Yes, thank you. And so this other view is as if you're standing across the street at the Sam Trans building looking across San Carlos Avenue. You see those red awnings there, that's that Class A retail space area that I talked to you about earlier, and it goes all the way down to Walnut on the ground floor. You'll note again how that upper floor is stepped back away from San Carlos Avenue to break up the mass and lower the facade appearance along San Carlos Avenue. One of the other really interesting things that I think about this project is that on the left you'll see a big archway and some people walking through that archway. That's Sister City Alley. So Sister City Alley is located there now between the buildings, but it's going to be expanded. And that archway represents the service alley. So that's where the service vehicles will come through. But what we've done here is we've thought, well, what if we limit service hours just to the morning and then allow this to be opened up in the late morning or early afternoon and the evening for pedestrians to walk through. So to add this to our new public plaza along Laurel Street. So this is a really nice amenity as well.
This is going to be a real asset to downtown San Carlos, right? Don't you think?
I think so too. I think it's going to be great for the city of San Carlos.
Well, thank you, Al, very much for joining me here today. For more information, you can go to the City of San Carlos's website. I'm Gloria Cohn, and this is City Hall in Focus.